Hello students. Today we discuss the last point in this unit, that is alternation of generation in riccia, which is also called as the gametophytic and sporophytic generation in riccia, or sexual and asexual reproduction in riccia, or the dominant and recessive generation in riccia. The different types of questions may be asking on the uh, alternation of generation, which is also called as the diploid and haploid generation of the riccia, and the schematic or diagrammatic representations of the riccia. So first of all, the schematic or graphical representations of the alternation of generation. In that you have to see there is a cycle. At the center there is the gametophytic plant body of the riccia, which is in diploid stage, and that gametophytic generation, which is also called as the sexual reproduction or dominant generation. So in that gametophytic plant body produces the antheridium and archegonium, which is in haploid stage. The antheridiums are the male sex organs. They produces the androcytes, and then these androcytes produces the anthrozoids, that is the male gametes. In female sex organ, which is called as the archegonium, this archegonium produces the female sex organ. In that female sex organ, the venter as well as egg cells are present. These egg cells are produces the female gametes. So I already discussed about this sexual as well as asexual reproduction in riccia in two previous videos. So this is the revision of that two parts. So that male sex organ antheridium and archegonium, they will be fertilized and they forms the zygote, that is in diploid stage, or which is also called as the oospores. The zygote is grow as a embryo, and they forms the sporophyte, or which is also called as the sporangium, and it is in diploid stage. When the sporophyte is grow, that is also called as the asexual reproduction, or which is in recessive stage, or it is in diploid stage. So in this sporophytic generation, this sporangium develop the capsule, which is in diploid stage. This capsule is produces the spore mother cells, that is the in diploid stage, or after these spore mother cells, meiosis is occur and they forms the spores. The spores are in haploid stage. These spores will be germinate, and at that time of germinate, they form the germ tubes. The germ tubes we develop the terminal cells, and from these cells divides, redivides, and they form the gametophytic plant body. So this is the schematic presentation. We discuss the one by one. First of all, in alternation of generation, डिफरेंट यहाँ पे आपको एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया है हर एक स्टेज का. सो दिस रिक्सिया प्लांट मोस्टली shows the distinct alternation of generation. These two sporophytic as well as gametophytic generation, they are distinctly present in the riccia plant. So the gametophytic generation is in dominant generations. They are in haploid stage. They are sexually reproducing genera. In sporophytic generation, it is recessive generation. It is in haploid stage or haploid generation, and they produces asexually. These are important points. Then let's discuss about the gametophytic generation. So in case of the gametophyte of riccia, it is thalloid structure, dorsiventral, monoecious, and having mid grooves. On that there is the rhizoid, scales, and rosette-like arrangement of that plants. On that gametophyte, the male sex organ is antheridium and it produces the male gametes, that is the anthrozoids, which is also called as the spermatozoids. Then the female sex organ in case of the riccia is called as the archegonia and they are produces the female gametes, that is egg cells. Then in case of the dehiscence of the sex organs, the dehiscence of these archegonium, it is mostly characterized by the chemotaxis, that means they produces the malic acid due to the disintegration of the venter as well as canal cells of these archegonium, and due to this chemotaxis or due to the attraction of the malic acid, the male gametes will be attracted or they will be come in the contact with the egg cells and they will be united and they form the zygotes. So in these, the female sex organs, they will be stationary and the male gametes are the motile. So male gametes will become or swim with to these female gametes and they will be united. At that stage, the water is very much required for completion of this completion of the fertilization. Then after the zygote formation, the end the gametophytic generation and it will start the sporophytic generation. So zygote or the oospore is the first cells of the sporophytic generation. So these zygotes, they will be divides and redivides and they form the sporophyte. The sporophyte of the riccia, it is very simplest and they will be completely parasite on the gametophytes. They cannot contain the chloroplast, so they cannot produce their own food. They will be depend on the gametophyte. The sporophyte of this riccia only consists the capsule, and in that capsules there is the sporocyte are present. Sporocyte are also called as the spore mother cells. So in that spore mother cells undergoes meiosis and they form spore tetrads, which is having in haploid states. Some cells of these spore mother cells will be disintegrate or they play the role of the nurse cells. So the spores germinate to form the gametophyte and spore is the end of the sporophytic generation. And these spore also the first cells of the gametophytic generation. So in this way, the whole life cycle of the riccia plant will be completed. That means from gametophytic generation to sporophytic generation. That means from the spores, the gametophytic generation will be start and they will be end with the zygote. So now I stop here. This is the last point and of the bryophytic genera riccia. So from this video, I think all of you are clear about this life cycle of the riccia plant.